Now the first thing we're going to do is to look at how we plot an equation of that form, y equals mx plus c. And all we need to do is take our equation, substitute in the x values they specify in the question, and then that will give us our y values. So take a look at this example here to see how we work out the different coordinates. If we want to plot the graph of y equals 3x plus 2 for x values between -3 and 3, all we need to do is substitute in the x values from the given range there, and that will tell us what our y values are. Once we have those, we'll have a set of coordinates that we can plot and join up with a straight line. So let's put in first of all when x equals 3. Well, the equation tells me it's 3 times x plus 2. So therefore it will become 3 multiplied by 3 plus 2 gives me 11. So the first coordinate that I know is on this line is the coordinate 3, 11. Now take a look at when I substitute in x equals 2. I get y equals 3 times 2 plus 2 equals 8. So my next coordinate is 2, 8. And then all I do is to keep substituting in the numbers in the given range, remember, between -3 and 3, and I will come out with the following coordinates. So you can see here, with my final one, when I put in x equals -3, 3 lots of -3 plus 2 gives me -7, so my final coordinate is -3, -7. So I now have 7 coordinates that I can plot and join up to do my straight line graph. So we've seen there how we generate the coordinates that produce our straight line graph. And now all we need to do is to plot that graph. So get your equipment, ruler, pencil and some graph paper, and we'll go and plot that graph of y equals 3x plus 2. So we plotted the points up at the board to find out the coordinates that made up this straight line, y equals 3x minus 2. So now let's plot those points and join them up with a straight line. So from the working out we just did, our first coordinate was 3, 11. Our next coordinate was 2, 8. And now we're going to keep plotting those coordinates in the same way and hopefully end up with all of our points in a straight line. So next was 1, 5, then 0, 2, then -1, -1, then -2, -4, -3, -7. So we've now plotted all of our points and you can see that they do in fact fall in a straight line. So all we need to do now is join them up with a ruler. We can now label our straight line with the equation they gave us in the question. So this represents y equals 3x plus 2. Now I want to draw your attention to some very important facts that we can notice about this particular straight line. The first one is where it cuts the y-axis. And you can see that it cuts the y-axis here at 2. Now also, if I wanted to work out the steepness of this line, well, to measure the steepness of a line, we look from one point to another. So as I move 1 across, I move 3 up. So therefore, my gradient on this straight line is 3. So it has a gradient of 3, it cuts the y-axis at 2. Now take a look at that equation again, y equals 3x plus 2. Can you see how we can tell the gradient and also that point where it crosses the y-axis from the equation? Now we're going to go back to the board and look at that in some more detail. So we've just seen there that we've plotted the equation y equals 3x plus 2, and what we noticed from that graph, remember, was where it cut the y-axis and also the gradient. Now this is where we're going to link up the equation y equals mx plus c with what we've just seen in that example. Now the equation of the line is given by y equals mx plus c. And let's have a look at what the m and the c now in that equation means. So the equation of a straight line is given by y equals mx plus c. And m and c are really important values because they give us information about the graph. M, remember from that example we saw, is the gradient or steepness. And c represents the y-intercept. So in other words, it would cut the y-axis at the point 0, c. So just by looking at an equation of a straight line now, you can tell what the gradient of that line would be and also where it would cut the y-axis. So we've seen how to plot a variety of straight lines now, and in particular that form the y equals mx plus c type straight line. But you've also now got to be able to plot a line that would be of the form x plus y equals k. So it's a slightly different equation, but the method we would use would be exactly the same. So have a look now at how we would plot a line of the form x plus y equals k. Let's say we want to plot the equation x plus y equals 5 for x values between -2 and 4. Now if you think what the equation x plus y equals 5 means, it means that our x coordinate added to our y coordinate should always give us an answer of 5. So if my first x value is -2, then my y value has to be 7, because -2 plus 7 gives me that answer of 5. So the first coordinate would be -2, 7. Next, if my x value was -1, well then our y value this time would have to be 6, because -1 plus 6 gives us that answer of 5 again. And then we can keep going through with each x value working out what our y value has to be in order to get that total of 5. So our final point there when x is 4, well that would be y equals 1, because 4 plus 1 gives us 5, giving us that final coordinate of 4, 1. So now if I plotted that graph, you can see what it would look like on this set of axes. There's each point that I worked out. You can see they're forming a straight line. And then when I joined that straight line up and labelled it with x plus y equals 5, now I want you to notice where that line cuts the axes, because you should notice that it cuts the y and the x-axis at the number 5. And that will always be the case. So for example, x plus y equals 7 would cut the x and y axes at 7.